The soft glow of the Christmas tree lights fills the living room as I stand at the window, staring out at the snow-covered street. Vanessa is in the kitchen, her laugh light and airy as she chats on her phone. I watch her reflection in the window, the way she tucks her hair behind her ear and leans on the counter as though she's sharing a secret. Something feels off. I can't put my finger on it, but this isn't the woman I've spent the last 12 years with. Her laughter is too free, too unlike the Vanessa who's been distant lately. The Vanessa who's been coming home late, avoiding my touch, and keeping her phone on lockdown like it holds state secrets. "Dinner's almost ready," she calls out, her voice bright, cheerful even. I murmur a reply, still watching her reflection. She glances over her shoulder, almost as if she knows I'm studying her. Her smile falters for a split second, and in that tiny moment, I see it, guilt. As we sit down to eat, the tension in my chest tightens like a noose. She's talking about work, about some last-minute Christmas rush, but I'm not hearing a word of it. My focus is on her phone, resting face down on the table like it always is. I want to reach across, grab it, and demand answers, but I hold back. Not yet. When the kids rush in to say goodnight, Vanessa's demeanor shifts. She hugs them a little tighter, her affection almost overcompensating. Something about it feels staged, like she's hiding a truth too heavy to bear. Later that night, I sit on the couch as she showers upstairs. My hand inches toward her phone, abandoned for once on the coffee table. I pick it up, and my stomach churns. Locked, of course, but a notification flashes on the screen. Can't stop thinking about last night. Same time next week? It's from a number saved as Alex. The sound of the shower turning off jolts me back to the moment. I set the phone down, my heart racing. Vanessa appears a minute later, hair damp, wrapped in her robe. She gives me that same forced smile, her eyes scanning me for any sign that I know. But I won't confront her. Not yet. I'll find out who Alex is, and I'll make damn sure Vanessa regrets every lie she's told me. Vanessa slips into bed beside me, her goodnight kiss brushing my cheek like a formality. She falls asleep quickly, or at least she pretends to. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with possibilities. Who is Alex? A coworker? An old flame? Someone new entirely? I know one thing. This ends tonight. As soon as her breathing evens out, I slip out of bed, grabbing my laptop from the desk in the corner of the room. The house is dark and silent as I make my way downstairs, every creak of the floorboards setting my nerves on edge. I settle at the dining table, opening the laptop and logging into our shared phone account. Vanessa doesn't know I still have access. It doesn't take long to find Alex. His number pops up in her call logs, always late at night, always for long stretches of time. My jaw tightens as I scroll through the records, piecing together the pattern. He's been in her life for months, slipping into the spaces I thought were ours alone. I search for his name online, pulling up his profile on social media. His picture stops me cold. A younger guy, maybe mid-30s, with a cocky grin that makes my blood boil. He works in sales, the same company as Vanessa. Of course, but I'm not here to just confirm what I already know. I want proof. Pulling up her GPS history through the tracking app one installed weeks ago, a precaution I hoped I'd never need. I see it plain as day. Vanessa isn't staying late at the office. She's been meeting Alex at a motel on the edge of town. The last entry is from 3 nights ago. I feel my chest tighten, anger and humiliation battling for control. This isn't just a fling. It's calculated, deliberate. She's been lying to me, lying to our kids, and for what? Some cheap thrill with a guy who'll never love her the way I do? But I won't let rage cloud my judgment. No, this calls for strategy. Tomorrow, I'll confront her in a way she won't expect. I'll use her lies against her, and I'll make sure Alex is there to see the fallout. As I close the laptop, Vanessa stirs upstairs. I sit still, waiting, listening for any sign she's coming down. The house is quiet again, but the fire inside me is anything but. This isn't over. It's just the beginning. Morning arrives, but it feels no different than the long night I endured. I sip my coffee at the kitchen counter, watching Vanessa bustle around, seemingly carefree. Her phone stays glued to her hand, her fingers dancing over the screen with quick, practiced ease. I'll be home late again tonight, she says, not even looking up. End-of-year deadlines at the office. Her words hang in the air like bait, daring me to react. I force a smile, keeping my voice even. No problem. I've got a few things to catch up on myself. If only she knew. As soon as she leaves, I get to work. My first call is to Derek, an old friend who knows how to navigate the murky waters of deception. Derek's an investigator, and while his usual clientele deals in insurance fraud or custody disputes, he owes me a favor. Derek, I say, my tone sharper than I intend. I need your help. He listens as I lay out the situation, the knots of my suspicion unraveling into hard facts. She's meeting this guy at a motel. I finish. I need to know when, where, and what's happening. Can you do that? Derek sighs. Daniel, you're sure about this? Once we open this door, there's no closing it. I'm sure, I reply, my resolve hardening. I need to see the truth, no matter how ugly it is. All right, he says, his voice carrying a hint of caution. Send me the details. I'll get on it today. Hanging up, I feel a mix of relief and dread. This is the point of no return. I spend the rest of the day trying to maintain a sense of normalcy for the kids, but my mind is elsewhere, locked on the ticking clock. As evening approaches, Derek calls back. You're in luck, he says. She's meeting him tonight. Same motel, 8 p.m. I'll have a camera set up in the parking lot and eyes on the room. You'll get everything you need. Good, I say, the fire in my chest igniting once more. I want it all. Vanessa comes home briefly, her excuse of a quick shower before heading back out ringing hollow. She doesn't even bother to eat with us, her focus already somewhere else. As she heads for the door, I step into her path. You sure you can't stay? I ask, keeping my voice casual. The kids miss having you around. Her eyes flicker, just for a second, before she puts on her well-practiced smile. I'll make it up to them tomorrow. Promise. I step aside, letting her pass. Watching her walk out the door, I feel the anger bubble up again, but I push it down. Tonight, it'll all be worth it. With Derek in position and my plan unfolding, I grab my jacket and keys. It's time to see for myself how far Vanessa has fallen, and to decide just how much she'll regret it. The motel is exactly what I imagined. Cheap, run down, and surrounded by shadows cast by flickering neon lights. I park a block away, keeping my car hidden from view, and walk the rest of the distance. My pulse pounds in my ears as I approach the spot Derek scouted. He's waiting for me in his SUV, camera gear sprawled across the passenger seat. The faint glow of a laptop illuminates his face. He looks up as I tap on the window. They're here, he says, gesturing to the screen. Room 212. They checked in about 15 minutes ago. My stomach churns, but I nod. You've got everything set? Yeah. Footage from the parking lot and hallway camera is rolling. I can get audio too, if you want me to patch into their room. The thought of hearing her, makes my chest tighten. No, this is enough. Derek shrugs. Suit yourself. If you're going in, I suggest you make it quick. Looks like they're settled in for the night. My fists clench at my sides, and I feel a surge of adrenaline course through me. This is it. I can't let her keep playing me for a fool. I thank Derek and head toward the motel's side entrance, keeping to the shadows as I navigate the maze of parked cars. The hallway reeks of mildew and cheap air freshener. I stop in front of room 212, my hand hovering just inches from the door. Through the thin walls, I can hear muffled laughter and voices, hers mingling with a man's. I don't bother knocking. With a single, deliberate motion, I twist the doorknob and push the door open. The scene hits me like a freight train. Vanessa sits on the edge of the bed, her blouse unbuttoned, a champagne flute in her hand. Across from her, Alex leans back in a chair, his shirt undone, a smug grin on his face. The color drains from her face when she sees me. The glass slips from her hand, shattering on the floor. Daniel, she stammers, scrambling to cover herself. Don't stop on my account, I say, my voice cold and cutting. My eyes lock onto hers, the betrayal written all over her flushed cheeks. Alex straightens up, his grin fading into confusion and then fear as he registers my presence. Who the hell are you? He demands, his tone defensive. I step inside, closing the door behind me. I'm her husband, I reply, letting the words hang in the air. Vanessa's eyes dart between me and Alex, panic taking hold. Daniel, it's not what it looks like, she starts, but I cut her off with a sharp laugh. Not what it looks like? I gesture around the room, my voice rising. Then why don't you tell me what this is? She doesn't answer. Alex shifts uncomfortably, his bravado shrinking under my glare. You think you can just waltz into my life and take what's mine? I say, turning my attention to him. Do you have any idea who you're messing with? He opens his mouth to respond, but I don't let him. Get out, I bark, pointing to the door. Wait, Vanessa pleads, stepping between us. Daniel, please, just listen. I've heard enough, I snap. My gaze hardens as I look at Alex. If I ever see you near her, or my kids, you'll regret it. He grabs his things and bolts, leaving Vanessa and me alone in the suffocating silence of the room. Her tears start to fall, but I feel nothing. No pity, no love, just the cold satisfaction of knowing the lies are finally out in the open. This is over, Vanessa, I say, my voice steady. I'll see you in court. The car ride home is a blur. Vanessa sits silently in the passenger seat, clutching her purse like it's the only thing anchoring her to the moment. She hasn't spoken since I dragged her out of that motel room, and frankly, I'm fine with the silence. The kids are asleep when we walk in, their innocence shielding them from the chaos tearing through their parents' lives. Vanessa heads upstairs without a word, while I linger in the living room, staring at the remnants of our life together. The framed family photos, the Christmas stockings hung neatly on the mantel. How did it come to this? The next morning, I'm up before dawn, my mind already racing with what comes next. Vanessa's betrayal isn't just a wound. It's a declaration of war, and I'm not about to lose. Over breakfast, she finally breaks the silence. We need to talk, she says, her voice trembling. About what? I reply, keeping my tone as neutral as I can. You've already made your choices clear. Tears well up in her eyes, but I refuse to let them sway me. Daniel, I made a mistake. Mistake? I cut her off, my voice rising. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or burning dinner. What you did was deliberate, Vanessa. Don't insult me by calling it a mistake. She flinches, her tears spilling over. It didn't mean anything, she whispers. Didn't mean anything? I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. You destroyed our family for nothing then. The weight of my words sinks in, and she drops her gaze to the floor. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this, she says after a long pause. For us, for the kids. I scoff. Fix this? Vanessa, you can't unring this bell. The trust is gone, and without that, there's nothing left to fix. Her face crumbles, but I don't wait for her to respond. I grab my jacket and head out the door, slamming it shut behind me. The crisp winter air bites at my face as I walk to my car, but it does little to cool the fire raging inside me. I don't have time for her tears or hollow promises. Right now, I need answers, and there's only one person who can help me get them. I call Derek on my way to his office. Did you get everything last night? I ask, my voice tight. Every second, he replies. Footage, timestamps, even the audio from the parking lot. You've got everything you need to nail her. Good, I say. Send it over. I'm taking this to the next level. By the time I arrive, Derek has the files ready. He hands me a USB drive, his expression serious. You sure about this, Daniel? Once you make your move, there's no going back. I'm sure, I reply, gripping the drive like it's a lifeline. She made her bed, Derek. Now she can lie in it. As I leave, my phone buzzes with a text from Vanessa. It's a simple message, but it makes my blood boil. Please come home. We can talk. There's nothing left to say. My focus now is on protecting my kids and ensuring Vanessa understands the full weight of her betrayal. This isn't just about ending our marriage. It's about making sure she feels every ounce of the pain she's inflicted. I sit in my car outside Derek's office, gripping the USB drive so tightly it feels like it might snap. This tiny piece of plastic and metal holds the truth, A truth that's about to shatter the fragile illusion of Vanessa's excuses and lies. But it isn't just about me. The kids don't deserve to be collateral damage in her reckless choices, and I need to make sure they're protected. I drive to my lawyer's office, a modest brick building tucked into a quiet side street. Anna Walker has been my legal counsel for years. She helped me draft my will when the kids were born and managed the paperwork when I started my business. If anyone can guide me through this storm, it's her. She greets me with a calm, professional smile as I walk into her office, but her eyes narrow when she sees the tension in my face. Daniel, what's going on? I hand her the USB drive without a word, watching as she plugs it into her computer and begins reviewing the files. The room is silent except for the faint hum of the fan, but my heart pounds louder with every passing second. When she finally looks up, her expression is grim. "This is damning," she says, removing the drive and setting it on the desk. "Do you want to pursue a divorce?" "Yes," I reply without hesitation. "I want full custody of the kids, and I want her out of the house." Anna nods, already scribbling notes. "This evidence will help your case, especially if you can prove her behavior has affected the children negatively. I'll need financial records, proof of your contributions as a parent, and anything else that supports your claim." "I have it all," I say. "She hasn't been a mother for months. I've been the one taking care of everything while she's been out doing this." Anna leans forward, her tone softening. "Divorce can get ugly, Daniel. Are you prepared for that?" I think about Vanessa's face in the motel room, the way she looked at me like I was the intruder in her fantasy world. "I don't care how ugly it gets," I say, my voice steady. "She made this bed. Now it's time she lies in it." As I leave Anna's office, my phone buzzes again. Another message from Vanessa. This time, it's longer, filled with pleas for forgiveness and promises to do better. I don't bother replying. Instead, I head straight to the kids' school. If this is going to turn into a legal battle, I need to start laying the groundwork. I meet with their teachers and the school counselor, explaining the situation in broad strokes. "I'm doing everything I can to make this transition smooth for them," I say. "But I need to know how they're doing here. Have you noticed any changes in their behavior?" The counselor nods, pulling out a folder. "Your oldest, Jamie, has been a bit withdrawn lately. He's mentioned missing his mom a lot. I didn't realize things were this serious." Hearing that makes my chest tighten. This isn't just about Vanessa's betrayal anymore. It's about repairing the damage she's done to our kids. By the time I get home, Vanessa is waiting in the living room. She looks like she hasn't slept, her eyes red and puffy. "Daniel, please," she starts as soon as I walk in. "I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes." I hold up my hand, stopping her mid-sentence. "It's too late, Vanessa. I've already started the process. You'll be hearing from my lawyer soon." Her face crumples, but I turn away, heading upstairs to check on the kids. This battle isn't about us anymore. It's about protecting them and ensuring their future isn't defined by her mistakes. Vanessa's wails echo through the house as I climb the stairs. The kids' doors are shut, but I know they can hear everything. I pause for a moment outside Jamie's door, clenching my fists as I hear the muffled sounds of a video game. He's using it as an escape, just like I want to. I knock softly. "Hey, bud, can I come in?" The game pauses, and Jamie mumbles, "Yeah." I push the door open to find him sprawled on his bed, his controller dangling from one hand. His eyes dart toward me, then back to the paused screen. "What's up?" I sit on the edge of his bed, trying to find the right words. "I just wanted to check in," I say. "You doing okay?" Jamie shrugs, his shoulders tight. "I guess. You know you can talk to me about anything, right?" I ask, my voice low and steady. "If something's bothering you, anything at all, you can tell me." He nods but doesn't say much else. I don't push him. Instead, I ruffle his hair and tell him I love him before heading to the girls' room. Their reaction is much the same. Closed off, hesitant. It's clear Vanessa's behavior has left a mark, even if they're too young to fully understand. By the time I'm back downstairs, Vanessa has pulled herself together, or at least is trying to. She's pacing the living room, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. "Daniel, we can't do this to the kids," she says, her voice trembling. "We can work it out for their sake." I lean against the doorway, crossing my arms. Now you're worried about the kids? You should have thought about them before sneaking off to motels with Alex. Her face twists with pain, or maybe anger. You don't understand, she says, her voice rising. I felt trapped. I felt like you didn't see me anymore. I laugh, a bitter sound that surprises even me. Didn't see you? Vanessa, I've been holding this family together while you've been out living a double life. How exactly is that not seeing you? She opens her mouth to respond but closes it again, her eyes darting away. That's what I thought, I say, my tone sharp. This isn't about me or the kids. This is about you being selfish. And now you're going to have to deal with the consequences. She sinks onto the couch, her hands trembling. What are you going to do? She asks, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm filing for divorce, I reply, my voice steady and unyielding. And I'm going for full custody. You'll be lucky if you get supervised visitation. Her head snaps up, her eyes wide with panic. You can't take them away from me, she says, her voice breaking. They're my kids too. Then you should have thought about that before you put your needs above theirs, I fire back. Before she can respond, my phone buzzes in my pocket. It's Anna. I step outside to take the call, leaving Vanessa to stew in her regret. Daniel, Anna says, her voice brisk, we've filed the initial paperwork. She'll be served by the end of the week. Good, I reply. What's next? I need you to gather anything else that might strengthen your case, she says. Photos, records, anything that shows a pattern of neglect or poor behavior. Consider it done, I say. As I hang up, the cold night air sharpens my focus. This isn't just a fight for my kids, it's a fight for our future. And I'll do whatever it takes to make sure Vanessa doesn't tear it apart any further. The next few days blur into a frenzy of preparation. Vanessa has taken on an eerie calm, a false sense of security that I know won't last once the papers are served. She's avoiding confrontation, spending most of her time locked in the bedroom, leaving me to handle everything with the kids. It's fine by me. I need the space to work. I dig through every corner of our life, pulling receipts from dinners she claimed were work-related, messages she thought she deleted, and even logs from the tracking app on her phone. Every piece of evidence paints a damning picture of her betrayal. Derek sends me the final cut of the footage from the motel. Watching it again is a punch to the gut, but I need it. Each frame fuels my determination. The most heartbreaking part is reviewing how her actions have impacted the kids. I find notes from teachers about Jamie's declining grades, emails from the school counselor flagging changes in behavior, and even Sarah's artwork, crayon drawings of a house split in two. I scan and organize everything, forwarding it to Anna with a note. Let's make sure they never have to deal with this again. The day finally comes for Vanessa to be served. I arrange for the papers to be delivered while she's at work. It's cold, I know, but I want her to feel the weight of her choices in a place where she can't escape the consequences. Later that evening, she storms into the house, her face flushed with anger. What the hell is this? She demands, holding up the papers like a weapon. I meet her glare with calm resolve. It's what happens when you destroy a family, Vanessa. I'm not going to let you drag the kids down with you. Her voice rises, sharp and defensive. You can't just kick me out of their lives. I'm still their mother. You should have thought about that before you made Alex more important than them, I reply, my tone even but firm. This isn't about punishing you. It's about protecting them. She throws the papers on the table, her hands trembling. I'll fight you on this, Daniel, she says, her voice cracking. I'll fight for my kids. Go ahead, I say, leaning closer. But I have more than enough to prove you've put yourself above them time and time again. Do you really want to drag this into court? Because I'm ready. Her bravado falters, and for a moment, I see the guilt and fear behind her anger. She looks away, her shoulders slumping. I didn't mean for it to get this bad, she says softly. But it did, I reply. And now we have to deal with it. The conversation ends there, and she retreats to the bedroom. I stay up late, finishing the last of the documents Anna needs. Each page feels like a step closer to freedom, not just for me, but for the kids. As I pack everything into a folder, I feel a strange mix of sadness and relief. This fight is far from over, but I'm ready for whatever comes next. The court date arrives faster than I anticipated. The tension in the air is palpable as Vanessa and I sit on opposite sides of the courtroom, each flanked by our respective lawyers. She looks composed, but I can see the cracks, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her blouse, her gaze darting around the room. Anna leans in, her tone confident. "We've got this, Daniel. Just stay calm and let the evidence do the talking." The proceedings start with opening statements. Vanessa's lawyer attempts to paint her as a loving, dedicated mother who made a single mistake. It's a compelling story. If you didn't know the truth, then it's Anna's turn. She delivers a scathing summary of Vanessa's actions, outlining the neglect, the lies, and the impact on the kids. "This isn't about punishing Vanessa," she says, her voice firm but measured. "It's about ensuring these children have a stable, nurturing environment, and that environment is with their father." The evidence speaks for itself. Derek's footage from the motel, Vanessa's late-night messages, and the financial records showing her reckless spending paint a clear picture. Anna doesn't hold back, presenting each piece with the precision of a surgeon. Vanessa's lawyer tries to counter, claiming I'm overreacting, that Vanessa's indiscretions don't define her ability to parent. But when Anna presents the notes from the school counselor and the kids' teachers, the narrative shifts. The judge looks over the documents, his expression unreadable. "Mr. Carter," he says, addressing me, "what do you believe is in the best interest of your children?" I stand, my heart pounding. "Stability," I say, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. "They need a parent who puts them first, who prioritizes their well-being over personal desires." Vanessa has shown she's not willing or able to do that. Vanessa glares at me, but I don't back down. The judge nods, turning to her. "Mrs. Carter, do you have anything to say?" Her voice wavers as she stands. "I made mistakes," she says, tears streaming down her face. "But I love my kids. I don't want to lose them." Her words are emotional, but they can't erase the mountain of evidence against her. When the judge delivers his ruling, the room falls silent. Mr. Carter will have full custody of the children. Mrs. Carter will be granted supervised visitation rights. Any changes to this arrangement will be subject to a review after 6 months. Relief washes over me, but it's bittersweet. This isn't a victory, it's a necessity. Vanessa collapses into her chair, sobbing. Her lawyer pats her shoulder, but she shrugs him off. As I gather my things, I glance over at her one last time. For a moment, I feel a pang of pity. She wasn't always like this. But pity doesn't change the damage she's done. As I step out of the courtroom, Anna walks beside me, her confidence tempered with caution. "This is a good outcome," she says. "But stay vigilant. Vanessa may try to challenge the ruling." "I'll be ready," I reply. "The battle may be over, but the war isn't finished. For now, though, the kids are safe, and that's all that matters." The courtroom victory leaves me with a strange mix of emotions. Relief, certainly, but also exhaustion and a lingering sadness. This isn't how I envisioned our lives, and despite everything Vanessa has done, I never wanted it to come to this. I drive home in silence, the weight of the day settling in my chest. When I walk through the door, the kids are in the living room, Jamie helping Sarah with her homework while Emma flips through a book. They look up as I enter, their faces lighting up. "Dad." Sarah rushes over, wrapping her arms around my waist. "You're home early." "Yeah, kiddo," I say, ruffling her hair. "Just wanted to spend some extra time with you guys." Jamie raises an eyebrow, clearly sensing something's up. He's a sharp kid, and I know he's been picking up on the tension over the past few weeks. "How about we order pizza and watch a movie tonight?" I suggest, trying to inject some normalcy into the day. The kids cheer, their excitement a brief balm for my weary soul. Later that evening, as the credits roll on the screen, Jamie stays behind while the girls head upstairs. He sits next to me on the couch, fidgeting with the hem of his hoodie. "Dad," he says hesitantly, "is Mom in trouble?" I take a deep breath, unsure how much to share. "Your mom and I are going through some tough stuff right now," I say carefully. "But no matter what happens, I promise you and your sisters will always come first." He nods slowly, processing my words. "Is she gonna move out?" "For now, yeah," I admit. but you'll still see her. She loves you, Jamie. Don't forget that. His eyes glisten, but he quickly looks away. Okay, he mumbles. The conversation leaves a heavy silence in the room, but I know I've said what needed to be said. The next morning, Vanessa comes by to pick up her things. She's subdued, her usual bravado replaced with quiet resignation. I stay out of her way, letting her pack while the kids are at school. As she loads the last box into her car, she turns to me, her eyes filled with a mixture of anger and regret. "You didn't have to do this, Daniel," she says, her voice low. "No," I reply, meeting her gaze. "You did it to yourself." She doesn't respond, just climbs into her car and drives off. Watching her go, I feel a strange sense of finality. Over the next few days, I focus on creating a new routine for the kids. I throw myself into work and spend my evenings helping with homework, cooking dinners, and making sure they feel as stable as possible. One night, as I'm tucking Sarah into bed, she looks up at me with her big, curious eyes. "Daddy," she asks, "are we going to be okay?" I smile, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Yeah, sweetheart," I say softly. "We're going to be just fine." A week passes, and just as life begins to feel somewhat normal, there's a knock at the door late one evening. I glance at the clock, 10:15 p.m. It's too late for casual visitors, and the kids are already in bed. Curiosity mingled with a touch of apprehension fuels my steps as I approach the door. Peering through the peephole, I'm met with a sight that makes my chest tighten. Vanessa, standing on the porch, looking disheveled and tearful. I open the door just enough to lean against the frame. "What are you doing here?" I ask, keeping my voice low so I don't wake the kids. "I need to talk to you," she says, her voice cracking. "Please, Daniel." I hesitate. Every part of me wants to shut the door, but something in her expression stops me. "5 minutes," I say, stepping aside. She walks in, her eyes scanning the living room like it's unfamiliar territory. She wrings her hands, struggling to find words. "I made a mistake," she finally says. "A big one. And I don't just mean what I did with Alex. I mean everything." I fold my arms, keeping my guard up. "What do you want from me, Vanessa?" Her eyes fill with tears as she looks at me. "I want to fix this. I know it's too late for us, but I need to fix things for the kids. I don't want them to hate me." "They don't hate you," I say sharply, my frustration bubbling up. "But they're hurt, Vanessa, and that's on you." "I know," she whispers, her voice breaking. I don't know how to make it right." For a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. But then I remember the months of lies, the nights spent alone while she chased her selfish desires. "I don't have the answers for you," I say, my voice firm. "All I care about is making sure the kids are okay. That's it." She nods, wiping her eyes. "Can I at least see them? Just for a little while?" "They're asleep," I say. "And even if they weren't, this isn't the time. You have visitation rights, Vanessa. Stick to them." Her face crumples, but she doesn't argue. She nods again and heads for the door. Just before she steps out, she turns back. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry," she says. I don't reply, and after a moment, she leaves. As I lock the door behind her, I lean against it, letting out a long breath. Her apology feels hollow, but maybe it's a start. For her, not for me. I've moved past the point of forgiveness. I check on the kids before heading to bed, watching them sleep peacefully, unaware of the chaos their mother brought back into our lives tonight. For their sake, I'll stay strong. This chapter isn't about me anymore. It's about them. The weeks that follow Vanessa's late-night visit are a whirlwind of adjustments. The kids are still processing the changes, and I'm doing my best to shield them from the fallout while juggling work and home life. It's not easy, but it's worth it. One Saturday morning, I'm in the kitchen flipping pancakes when Jamie walks in, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Morning, Dad," he mumbles, plopping down at the table. "Morning, bud," I reply, setting a plate in front of him. He picks at his food for a moment before looking up. "Is Mom coming over today?" The question hangs in the air like a storm cloud. "Not today," I say carefully. "She'll see you during her next visit." Jamie nods, but his face falls. It's moments like these that remind me just how much this has affected them, even if they don't always show it. Hey, I say, sitting across from him. You know this isn't about you, right? None of this is your fault. I know, he says quietly. It's just weird, I guess, not having her here. I nod, understanding his pain but unable to fix it. We're gonna figure this out, I promise. One step at a time. Later that day, while the kids are playing outside, my phone buzzes with a message from Anna. The court approved the revised custody schedule. It reads, Vanessa's visitation will remain supervised for the next 6 months. Relief washes over me. It's not a permanent solution, but it's a step in the right direction. That evening, I sit down with the kids to explain the new arrangement. I keep it simple, focusing on the positives. You'll still see your mom, I say, but it'll be in a way that works for everyone. Sarah snuggles closer to me, her tiny arms wrapping around my waist. As long as we're with you, Daddy, it's okay, she says. Her words hit me harder than I expected, and I pull her into a tight hug. You guys are my world, I say, looking at all 3 of them. And I'm not going anywhere. Over the next few days, I focus on rebuilding a sense of stability. I start cooking more elaborate dinners, something Vanessa never had time for, and we establish new routines. We even start a weekly family game night, a hit with Sarah, but less so with the competitive Jamie. Bit by bit, the house starts to feel like home again. But life has a way of throwing curveballs. One evening, as I'm putting the kids to bed, my phone buzzes with a call from Vanessa. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the screen before I answer. What is it? I ask, keeping my voice neutral. I need your help, she says, her voice trembling. My chest tightens. What kind of help? There's been a mistake with the visitation schedule, she says quickly. I was supposed to see the kids this weekend, but they moved it without telling me. I sigh, running a hand through my hair. Vanessa, that's something you need to take up with your lawyer. I can't fix this for you. I know, she says, her voice breaking. But I don't know what to do, Daniel. Everything's falling apart. Her words stir something in me. Not sympathy, but recognition of just how far she's fallen. This isn't my responsibility, I say firmly. You need to figure this out on your own. The line goes silent for a moment before she whispers, I'm sorry. For everything. I hang up, conflicted but resolute. Vanessa's problems aren't mine to solve anymore. My focus is on the kids, on giving them the life they deserve. As I sit on the couch later that night, I realize something. We're not just surviving. We're starting to thrive. It's a crisp Saturday morning when I find myself at the local park with the kids. Jamie is kicking a soccer ball around with a group of boys, while Sarah and Emma take turns on the swings. I sit on a bench nearby, sipping coffee and soaking in the rare moment of peace. The sound of laughter draws my attention to a nearby playground, where a woman is helping a young boy climb the monkey bars. She looks familiar, slim, with a warm smile that seems to light up her entire face. It takes me a moment to place her. Kate. She's the school counselor who's been helping Jamie adjust to the changes at home. She catches my eye and waves, walking over with the boy in tow. Mr. Carter, she says, her voice friendly. It's good to see you outside the school for once. Please, call me Daniel, I reply, shaking her hand. And it's nice to see you too. This is my son Ben, she says, ruffling the boy's hair. Ben, this is Mr. Carter, Jamie's dad. Hi, Ben says shyly before darting off to join the other kids. Kate sits down beside me, brushing a strand of hair out of her face. How are things going at home? She asks, her tone shifting to one of gentle concern. I hesitate, unsure how much to share. It's been a process, I admit. The kids are resilient, though. They're adapting better than I expected. She nods, her expression thoughtful. Jamie talks about you a lot, she says. He's proud of how you've handled everything. Her words take me by surprise, and I feel a lump rise in my throat. He's a good kid, I say. They all are. I just hope I'm doing enough for them. You're doing more than enough, Kate says, her voice soft but firm. They're lucky to have you. We sit in companionable silence for a moment, watching the kids play. There's something about Kate that puts me at ease, a quiet strength that feels grounding. As the sun begins to dip lower in the sky, she stands, brushing off her jeans. Well, I'd better get Ben home before he decides he's part of the playground equipment. I chuckle. Thanks for checking in, Kate. It means a lot. She smiles, that same warm smile that caught my attention earlier. Take care, Daniel. And if you ever need someone to talk to, you know where to find me. As she walks away, I feel a strange sense of hope stirring in my chest. It's been a long time since I felt this way, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That evening, Jamie asks about the woman at the park. She's nice, he says, a hint of curiosity in his voice. She is, I reply, keeping my tone casual. She's been a big help with everything going on at school. He nods, but I can see the gears turning in his head. You should talk to her more, he says simply before heading upstairs. I sit there, Jamie's words echoing in my mind. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's time to start looking forward instead of dwelling on the past. A week passes, but I can't stop thinking about Kate. Something about her calm presence and the way she connects with the kids stays with me. Jamie's comment keeps replaying in my mind, and I start to wonder if he sees something I've been too cautious to acknowledge. On Friday afternoon, I decide to act. After picking up the kids from school, I linger near the counselor's office, waiting for Kate to finish her last appointment of the day. When she steps out, her face lights up with a smile. Daniel, she says, surprised. What brings you here? I shrug, feigning nonchalance. Just thought I'd say thanks for everything you've done for Jamie. He's been doing a lot better lately, and I know that's partly because of you. Her smile softens. I'm glad to hear that. He's a great kid. There's a brief pause, and I take a deep breath, deciding to take a chance. Would you like to grab a coffee sometime? As a thank you, I mean. Her eyes widen slightly, but there's no hesitation in her reply. I'd like that, she says. We exchange numbers, and as I walk out with the kids, I feel a strange sense of anticipation, a feeling I haven't allowed myself to feel in years. Our coffee date is set for the following Saturday. I drop the kids off at my parents' house, assuring them I won't be gone long. Jamie smirks knowingly, and I realize he's more perceptive than I give him credit for. Kate and I meet at a cozy cafe in town. She's dressed casually, her hair tied back, and her warm demeanor instantly puts me at ease. We talk about everything, her work, my life with the kids, even the mess I've been through with Vanessa. She listens without judgment, offering insights that feel more like a friend's advice than a counselor's analysis. At one point, she leans forward, her expression serious. You've been through a lot, Daniel, she says, but you've come out of it stronger. That's not easy to do. Her words hit me harder than I expect, and for the first time in a long while, I feel like someone truly sees me, not as a struggling parent or a man rebuilding his life, but as a person. By the time we finish our coffee, it's clear there's something between us, an unspoken connection that feels genuine and new. As we part ways, she gives me a warm smile and a lingering glance that leaves me hopeful. Back at my parents' house, Jamie is the first to corner me. How'd it go? He asks, his smirk barely contained. I ruffle his hair, chuckling. You're too nosy for your own good. Is that a yes? He presses, his eyes bright with curiosity. I laugh, shaking my head. Let's just say it went well. The kids' laughter fills the house as I settle in for the evening. For the first time in what feels like forever, I let myself imagine a future where we're not just surviving but thriving. Over the next few weeks, Kate and I fall into an easy rhythm. It starts with simple conversations, brief exchanges at the school drop-off, or casual texts about the kids. But those conversations deepen, and I find myself looking forward to hearing from her. One evening, while the kids are playing in the backyard, Kate texts me, "Dinner tomorrow? Just us?" The invitation catches me off guard, but I smile as I type back, "I'd love to. What time?" The next evening, I leave the kids with a trusted sitter and head to a small Italian restaurant in town. Kate is already there, waiting with that warm smile I've come to cherish. Over wine and pasta, we talk about everything. Her life as a single mom, her passion for working with children, and my journey through the storm of betrayal and rebuilding. At one point, she reaches across the table, placing her hand over mine. "You've come a long way, Daniel," she says softly. You're an incredible father, and you've built something amazing for your kids. They're lucky to have you." Her words touch a part of me I didn't realize was still tender. "Thank you," I reply, my voice steady but filled with gratitude. Hearing that means more than I can say. The night ends with a walk under the stars. The crisp air carries a sense of possibility, and as we stop by her car, there's a moment of hesitation. She looks at me, her expression warm but unsure. "Kate," I say, my voice low. "I haven't felt this, connected to someone in a long time." Her eyes meet mine, and she smiles. "Neither have I." I lean in, and for the first time in years, I allow myself to embrace something new. The kiss is gentle, unhurried, and filled with the promise of what could be. When I return home, Jamie is waiting up, pretending to be engrossed in a book. I smirk, ruffling his hair as I pass. "Good night, Nosy," I say, earning a laugh from him. The days that follow feel lighter, as though the weight I've been carrying is finally lifting. Kate and I continue to grow closer, but we're mindful of taking things slow. One Saturday, I invite her and Ben over for dinner. The kids hit it off immediately, and the house is filled with laughter and energy. Watching them play together, I realize this is what I've been missing, a sense of wholeness, of connection. After dinner, Kate and I sit on the back porch, watching the kids chase fireflies in the yard. She leans against me, her presence grounding and comforting. "Thank you," I say quietly. "For what?" she asks, her voice soft. "For being here," I reply. "For reminding me that there's more to life than just surviving." She looks up at me, her eyes filled with warmth. "We're in this together now, Daniel," she says. "Whatever comes next, we'll figure it out." As the night deepens, I find myself thinking not about the pain of the past, but about the possibilities of the future. Months pass, and life begins to feel like it's finally settling into place. The kids are thriving, their laughter filling the house as they embrace the new normal. Jamie's grades have improved, Sarah is back to drawing happy pictures, and Emma's curiosity is flourishing. Kate has become a steady presence in our lives. She joins us for game nights and family dinners, her warmth and kindness weaving seamlessly into the fabric of our little world. The kids adore her, and watching them bond with her feels like watching the missing pieces of a puzzle snap into place. One crisp fall morning, we take the kids on a hike. The trail winds through a forest ablaze with the reds and golds of autumn, the air filled with the sound of rustling leaves. Ben and Jamie race ahead, their laughter echoing through the trees, while Sarah and Emma pick up leaves to press into their journals. As Kate and I walk behind them, I glance over at her. She's smiling, her cheeks flushed from the cool air, her eyes shining with happiness. "This feels right," I say, breaking the comfortable silence. She looks up at me, her smile widening. "It does," she replies. "It feels like home." Later that evening, as the kids sleep soundly after the long day, Kate and I sit on the couch, a fire crackling softly in the fireplace. "I've been thinking," I begin, my voice hesitant, "about what's next for us." Her expression softens, and she takes my hand. "I've been thinking about that too," she says. I reach into my pocket, pulling out a small box. Her breath catches as I open it, revealing a simple but elegant ring. "Kate," I say, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. "You've brought light into my life when I thought it was gone forever. You've shown me that love can be patient, kind, and strong. Will you marry me?" Tears fill her eyes as she nods, her smile radiant. "Yes, Daniel," she whispers. 1,000 times yes." The weeks that follow are a whirlwind of planning and anticipation. The kids are ecstatic, eagerly helping with the preparations. Sarah insists on designing handmade invitations, and Jamie volunteers to be the ring bearer, though his excitement is more about the chance to give a speech at the reception. The wedding is simple but perfect, held in the same park where Kate and I first reconnected. Surrounded by friends, family, and the vibrant hues of autumn, we exchange vows that feel like a promise not just to each other but to the new life we're building together. As we dance under the twinkling lights strung through the trees, I hold Kate close, her warmth anchoring me in the moment. "You've made me believe in happiness again," I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. She looks up at me, her eyes shining. And you've shown me that it's never too late to start over. That night, as we settle into the rhythm of our new life, I reflect on how far we've come. The road hasn't been easy, but every challenge, every heartbreak has led to this moment of peace, love, and hope for the future. For the first time in years, I feel whole. And I know we're going to be just fine. Thanks for joining us for this journey of heartbreak, resilience, and rediscovery. What would you have done in Daniel's shoes? Have you ever faced challenges that forced you to rebuild from the ground up? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another gripping tale of transformation. Your support helps us bring more stories of strength and perseverance to life. See you next time for another unforgettable story.